So this is the vlog for April 29th, 2018. I've been playing a lot of Warframe lately. It's been helpful because it gives me a lot of things to think about. And having anything to think about at all during this week has been crucial. It's a complex game in that you fight and complete missions and you get rewards, but those rewards aren't things that you just immediately turn around and use. You get, well, with the exception of the mod cards that are sort of your basic items. That's not even the right word. In other games, you would collect like gloves, boots, a belt, chest piece, pants, that sort of thing. In Warframe, your armor is your frame, but it is also the source of all of your abilities, aside that you use in addition to your weaponry. So the little bonuses that you would normally get from different pieces of armor instead come from these mods that you pick up. And that's a neat system, but that's not really what I wanted to talk about. What I wanted to talk about is the nature of building those frames and those weapons that I mentioned earlier. Because generally throughout the game, you find blueprints. You can either purchase them on a market for credits, depending on how high your mastery rank is, or you may find them as something as a mission reward. The blueprint then requires certain materials that you gather as well and are rewarded for completing missions that you then take to your foundry. And here's the big thing. Gathering materials and using them to make your weapons and armor is nothing new to me. I've been playing Monster Hunter since 2004. Where Warframe is different is that these blueprints all take time to build. And it's one of the ways that they have to monetize their free-to-play game. No game is free to play. Well, games are free to play, but there's always got to be something to incentivize giving them money. And I've given Warframe about $65 total, so that's about as much as I'd pay for any game these days, aside from DLC. And what I've gotten is essentially a lot of DLC for $65. So, time. I just bought a blueprint for a set of throwing daggers that I throw at an enemy, they get stuck in the enemy, and then I activate, causing them to explode. To actually deliver an electrical shock is technically what they do. I have all the materials I need because I've been playing the game all day and I've been gathering a lot of materials, and I had all the credits money I need. So then I started building them, and they will be ready to go 12 hours from when I started building, which was about 6:30. So at 6:30 a.m. tomorrow, right when I sit down to use my computer, they will be ready for me to pick up and use. Now, if I wanted to rush the build process, I could use the equivalent of the real world money currency, which is platinum, to make the process go faster. But I'm trying to avoid spending more money because of how easy it is. But it creates this strange relationship where I'm constantly thinking about what I'm going to do the next day with all the new stuff, because I've got 3 different things building right now, a couple of weapons and something else. No, I finished building an extractor, which will gather more resources when I'm not playing. There's an app to manage those, by the way. Of course there is. So it's not something I've had to run into where I have to spend a lot of real world time just to let these things happen. And all the stuff that I bought with my real world money was made available to me immediately. You get that instant gratification. But I was spending an awful lot of time trying to find the best value for what I was spending, and I still don't think I did a very good job. In particular, I bought a pack of 3 female Warframes one of which I already had, um, one of which I barely use, and one of which I got some use out of. And if I had just bought the one and bought a Orakin reactor for the other one, I would have gotten the upgrade that I wanted, and I wouldn't have spent a lot of extra money on that third frame that I've barely used at all. I mean, eventually I'll probably use Trinity, and her healing might be helpful in a group setting. We'll see. But time. I want to talk about time for a moment because I think about it all the time. And it's easy to say you've got all the time in the world and you don't have to worry about it. Just focus on what you're doing, get that done, and you'll, enjoy yourself. And it's equally easy to say that we all have a finite amount of time to be alive and do things. And of course, this week has put that in very stark light, because I thought I was going to have a lot more time with Leo than I did. And I thought about it actually a lot when I first found him. I thought cats can live, generally life expectancy is 12 plus years. I had 2 cats that lived to be 18 years old. And I thought when I was 25 and I found Leo, what is it going to be like when he's 18? How old am I going to be? I did the math in my head. If he had lived to be 18, I would have been in my 40s. I would have been 42 years old, at least. And I thought about what kind of person I would be when I was 43. I thought about what I would be doing when he finally passed. Because as I said before, Mittens, my first cat, had passed just a few months before I found Leo. And that element of where am I going to be kept coming into my mind. And I kept imagining him as an older cat, which is sort of weird. I didn't do that with Kitsy and Mittens. I didn't know. When I got them, they were kittens, and I'd never had an older cat. My grandparents had an older cat, but I just sort of watched them get bigger and grow up and be the cats that they were for their lives. And I keep thinking about what it would mean to have another cat, and it just keeps feeling like that's not the right thing. And it's not just because it would be disrespectful to Leo to just immediately go out and find a replacement. There's no replacing Leo. And that's the thing, is that the more I thought about it, the more I just really wanted Leo back. And getting a new cat isn't, it's not convenient, certainly. I'm going to be going to my cousin's wedding. I'd have to kennel a cat. If I did that, I'm going to visit my sister in Washington for Thanksgiving in November. No, I take it back. Christmas. We're going down over to Washington, D.C. for Christmas. And I'd have to take Leo at that point as well. And I know it's kind of cold to look at it in that light, and that, now I don't have to worry about that. But if I got a new cat, a kitten, who has not had any experience being by itself for a long period of time, who would have to be kenneled at the vet or some other place, and worrying about all of that, worrying about all the expenses, and having to go through having a kitten, which is a lot of work, because they want to play in the middle of the night. Well, actually, they want to play at the very earliest sign of light in the morning, and they want to play as you're going to sleep. They tend to sleep in the middle of the night sometimes. They also wake up and want to do stuff like any other young thing. And that was what Leo did. He would wake up in the middle of the night. He would run around on my desk, knocking things over. He'd shoot up the bit of a toy I had standing on that desk. I was so mad. I never even play with that toy anymore. I don't even have it on display. I have it boxed up somewhere. I don't even know exactly where it is. I don't want a new cat. I don't need one. Just one more time with Leo. I'm Eric Spornitz, and tomorrow will be better.